Hello, everybody. Good evening. It's Wednesday. It's 9 o'clock here in Ireland. It's time for our spiritual light. And today, um, Charles and Silvia, they have some problems, connection problems. I hope they can join us later on. Meanwhile, the show must go on. And today's topic is spirituality and health. Spirituality and health. Good to know. And let me share my screen and then we will start our discussion here. Let me share here. There we go. Let's begin.
Scientists have already shown to us facts that prove that the practice of what we believe in, the cherishing of our faith in general, the feeling of being connected to God produces changes in our physiology.
In Spiritism in particular, we are very keen in working in our minds, in our mindsets, because that changes the way we see the things. If you change your mind, you change your life. You will see things differently. And you might be in the same situation, but physically speaking, you might feel healthier, you might feel better, you might recuperate a little bit quicker.
But the best health is the health that comes to the depths of the soul. So you can be physically ill, but yet inside yourself, the depths of who you are, you can be healthy. It's just the last part of the cleansing, the sort of when we exfoliate ourselves. It's sort of a spiritual exfoliation, if you will.
Faith has been shown to have a tremendous impact on physical health and the healing aspect of things. In Spiritism, we learn how faith can actually motivate our spiritual and physical selves towards the reparation of the body that is ailing, that is in the illness. Let's go back to 2,000 years ago. When Jesus had the miraculous healing, one of the things that he would state afterwards was, "Your faith has saved you." He placed on the person the responsibility for not only having sought him to receive the healing, but also to maintain it. It was one of the key things. We have a responsibility to maintain it. Physicians of the future will realize that many illnesses doesn't really come from just the physical aspect of it. The moral side of our being may affect our physical body and the health, the way we think, the way we feel, the words that we speak, the spiritual pollution that we are exposed to and which we contribute to oftentimes when we are vigilant with our own thoughts.
Put our attention on our sorrows and pain and troubles. Psychology supports the idea that we will grow. We believed we were victims of diseases, and we are not. We are not victims.
No doubt we can change our bodies through the power of our minds and our spiritual practice. The question is how much and how fast. However, we are often very incredulous as a society because it takes time. It's not just me thinking, and then poof, there will happen. But over time, with consistency and with development of your own thinking abilities, you can for sure influence yourself and your physical body and have a little bit of a healthier life.
That's what differentiates us between animals. Animals, they react, but we have the frontal lobe to make the decision to say, wait a second, I can rationalize and say, this isn't the best decision for me.
We see ourselves with greater compassion. I forgive myself more often if I have a connection with God and cherish it than not. And my relationships will potentially be benefited as well, which is part of mental health.
why it's important for us to know ourselves, because our emotions and how we think and how we feel will impact us physically and emotionally on many different levels. So if I'm able to be more forgiving of somebody else, my emotional well-being will be in a better state.
Faith is so important that when a patient looks for healing and he doesn't have faith, it's as if he's standing on the rain with an umbrella. The water is falling, but it's not penetrating. He doesn't allow it. Faith opens up for the benefits that we receive, whether spiritual healing is taking place or that of the physical body. So faith is truly important part of the healing process.
Okay, so Charles here. Bonsoir, Charles.
Bonsoir, Stevan. Sorry for a little bit late. I clicked on the wrong link, last week's one, but okay, this happens. But here I am to do my best on this subject for today about health and spirituality.
Yes, yes. Good, good. So, as we saw on the video, everything starts in our mind. Everything is a state of mentality. I like the example Andrea gave to us, saying going through a sick, a process of disease, a disease process, without having faith is like going to the rain without an umbrella. So, whichever problem you have, if you don't have faith, faith is not just, I have faith, I will be cured. If the best thing for you is you die, you must have faith as well. And this is tricky because how are we going to have faith? Oh, but I'm if I die, yeah, your faith should be it's whatever happens, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm go through it. I overcome it. And I will accept whatever it takes. It's easy to say, but here we are talking about not what's the correct, what it is more rational to do. And this is the rational thing to do. Whatever you face with courage, face with faith. Change the things you can change, accept the things you cannot change. Okay, Charles, this is my first introduction. So, what you have for us is about spirituality and faith.
Spirituality and faith. Yes, you know, I come always to the same point. Spiritist body of knowledge is following the spiritualist paradigm. This means we are not just a physical body, a bunch of cells governed by biochemical reactions. There is something behind this in order to ensure the life itself. Because the life itself is poorly explained by science. We know here is a machine with some organs, it works like this, it works like that. But why does it work like that? Where does it come from? What happens a few seconds before death and a few seconds after? What is the difference? And according to the spiritualist body paradigm, we have a soul and a spiritual body, and that is where lies this energy, this organizing principle, which is characteristic of all what is living. And sure, we talk here about living, but when we talk also about health, for sure, when we have a disease in our physical body which is appearing or diagnosed, what is the origin? What is the cause of this disease? We see, okay, there is an unbalance here, there is a problem there, but why does this problem, where does it come from? Sometimes science can answer. For instance, there are direct links identified very clearly between some attitude we can have and some diseases. For instance, smoking, we know that it causes diseases of the lungs or on the heart or wherever. And this is clearly identified. But sometimes it's not identified. We know also, for instance, asbestos is giving cancer, but a lot of cancer, science does not know where it comes from. I went through this trial as well, and I asked my doctor, why do you have this? Did I do something wrong? Was it a question of what I was eating? Or he said clearly to me, we don't know yet where this type of cancer comes from. And that is clearly showing the limitation of today's science and medical. If you look only to the physical body, you look only to a small part of what we are really. And this is exactly the motto of the International Spiritist Medical Association, or the Brazilian one, is to promote this spiritualist paradigm in medicine, and to consider the human being as a bio, socio, psycho, spiritual being. So with 4 dimensions, as you can see. Biological, the body, that's known. Socio is, of course, the society, the surroundings are also having an effect, and our relation with the society. Psycho as well, the psychology and so on, and spiritual. So this is the most important dimension where basically a lot of things lie. And the best way to face to seek for the health is exactly to consider all these 4 aspects. You told Stevan, we need faith. That's true, we need faith. What is faith? Faith is a kind of a strength which is increasing the coping and our resistance to adversity and to some illnesses. Compare someone which gets a bad news about a difficult disease, let's say so, for instance, cancer or something else. The person with faith will say, okay, good, what shall we do now? And some other person, oh, it's finished, I cannot anymore. I'm sure if you make statistics and you compare both, you will see that one has much more chance to overcome the illness or to survive much longer than the other, which is not having the strength to face the difficulties with faith. And the faith, of course, is something also very delicate. We talked about it several times in the spiritual light emissions. You have the religious faith, for instance. Oh, it's written, so you have to believe in it. Yeah, okay, guys, sorry, but I would like to understand. Is it possible to understand? No, you shall not seek to understand. You shall simply have faith and believe in it because it's written. Okay, this is a so-called blind faith, or heteronomous faith, if you want. The other type of faith is the reasoned faith. I believe in it. I have faith. Why? Because I understand. I understand what's behind. Of course, I will not understand everything. The intrinsic nature of God, nobody can. We don't have the means to understand that. So we must have the humility to recognize that there are things that we don't understand, but we understand enough in our evolution level in order to, for instance, if we as a spiritist follow a spiritualist paradigm, it's not just because it's written in the book, it is because we have understood. This is the so-called reasoned faith or autonomous faith. I believe in it because I have understood it. If you ask me, do you believe you have a soul? I will answer, I believe as much that I have a soul as I believe that in the universal gravity, that the sun is attracting the earth, which is turning around it. Why? Okay. The second you will say to me, yes, but of course, we know the laws, Newton, Einstein, whoever. Okay, but explain to me what is universal attraction. Where is the rope? Where is the link? Where is the particle, the graviton? Where is it? Nobody did explain what it is. Of course, we know the force is equal to G, the gravity constant, mass 1 times mass 2 divided by the distance at square. So this is very well known. Okay, but why is it like this? If there would be an elastic between both, we would understand. And this is funny. Science believes in it, but never explained it fully. So this is exactly the procedure we have to follow. We are not yet capable of understanding everything. Nevertheless, we can find a lot of applications. Law of gravity is used since ages now, and it's simply the same. What is the spiritist body of knowledge claiming? Okay, we found some evidences that we have a soul, that this soul has an influence on our physical body, it has an influence on our health, and we just want to develop that and to reason logically and scientifically based on this starting hypothesis. And I'm very lucky to see that there are uh, thousands of studies which have been done now, statistical studies, reviews, and published in medical papers of which are well known about this influence of the thought, influence of the spirituality, influence of prayer or whatsoever on the health, showing that there is a clear effect. We told already about this when we told about, for instance, the placebo. Placebo, okay, everybody admits the placebo effect. Okay, but explain to me what it is. Explain to me how the placebo effect works. Huh? Isn't it a positive action of our soul on our own physical body? So we have an explanation, a possible explanation, which, by the way, is very, very simple, following the parsimony principle, and not very complicated explanation we need. Starting with the spiritualist paradigm, we, of course, can deduce a lot of things, and happily, now we see some applications, and these applications are, of course, in the benefit of the health of the humanity. That's it. What do you think, Steven?
I completely agree. I completely agree. I think we we claim we are smart. We claim we need to be proactive, like we are evolving. We are the science is progressing a lot. Yes, so we need to evolve ourselves. We need to stop with old values, and we need to get to know more ourselves. Knowing ourselves is the my opinion is the secret sauce for everything, like we do have in this in the spirit's book. We have to know ourselves. That's the best device. And the question is, do you know yourself? The same way when you start say, oh, I'm not feeling okay. It looks like I'm gonna get a flu. You know before you're getting very sick, but you know Oh, this is gonna, well, and of course, when you have that feeling, you start to treat yourself. But we are saying here the smart thing to do is start to treat yourself before you're feeling that, not once you're feeling that.
Prevention, huh?
So this will avoid you to get flu. No, no. But it will allow you to treat and have a mild symptoms. Then you go to the entire process. Same thing we need to apply in our life. We know faith is good, have a kind of a religion or belief is good. It is. Do it. Oh, I don't want to follow Catholic. I don't want to follow Spiritism. Don't matter. Talk to God yourself. Talk to it, whatever name you call it, Mother Nature, whatever. But start to create that relationship to what you believe. Start to paving that bridge and start to teach your family, or especially for a father, for a mother, this to your children. I'm not advocating for any religion here. I'm just saying, start to contemplate to what you believe. It's important for us to establish this kind of relationship. We will need it. Most of the problems, most of the atheist problems is because they don't. It's not a problem. They just not believe in the God the man has created. We have that author from Iran. What's the? Do you know his name? Khalil Gibran.
Even
Khalil Gibran.
I don't know.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. There's a story. I don't know the story very word by word, but the story is Khalil Gibran says every, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years, Jesus comes to meet the Jesus created by man, and both have a conversation in order to try to understand themselves. And they come, and they finally, and they at the end they come going apart because they will never understand each other. This is true. This is this is true. But and you may ask now, okay, so what is right? What is right? It is what do you believe? It is what you believe. It is what you say. Okay, this is right. Last week we talked about peace. This is the peace of mind we are looking for. The peace in yourself that I did everything I could. We need to split our problems in three categories. Problems in which we can sort it out. We have a high influence and we can do something. Problems in which we can persuade someone, we can try to do something, and problems we cannot do anything. Start to work on those. Spend your time. Instead, and most of us spend our time trying to fix things we cannot fix. A silly example here, an investor. If someone in the US wake up from the Federal Reserve and say, open their mouth, the dollar will drop next immediately. That is not what it can do. So let's stop wasting our time in things we cannot resolve and put more efforts in things we can resolve, in things we can persuade, in things we can have control. And things you can have control is your behavior today, your actions today, your conscience today. This you can have a control. But after you do something and you reap the consequences in a near future or long future, that's not what you can do. You can do. You already did. So, do you agree with this, Charles?
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, again, there is a question of humility. We need sometimes some resignations about the things we are not controlling. And this is simply, I mean, to be wise, huh? Because otherwise, if we worry, it's worse. If we spend a lot of effort unnecessarily, it's worse. Huh? So when we have the intelligence or a better intelligence, let's say so, of what's happening, of course, we can focus better our efforts to obtain more results. And okay, so what I like is well, there are some institutions, Stevan. Maybe I don't know if you are. I lost the beginning of the video, but there is a spiritual medical association in Brazil, founded by Marlene Noble several decades ago already. And there is also an international one, also since early 2000s. And they are working a lot on this. It is even their mission to promote this spiritual paradigm in their area of actuation, which is medicine, because they are all the doctors and physicians and so on. And they are really making a good job. There are some congresses in Brazil. There were also some congresses across Europe, stopped a little bit because of the pandemic, and now it's restarting slowly but surely. I think you will talk soon about this seminar, which will happen in UK very soon from now. And they had several virtual seminars, including in 2022 there was one about there was a bioethics seminar. So you can find all this information and also the videos of the previous seminars in the YouTube channel of the Spiritist Medical Association, International Spiritist Medical Association. And there you will see people, of course, the doctors, a lot are from Brazil, but not only. You have a lot from Portugal, from Switzerland, from UK also. You have, for instance, Rupert Sheldrake, and he made a speech about exactly this question of how many scientific papers are existing on this link of health and spirituality. It's thousands and thousands and thousands. So the only question I still have is the same as I made, I think, last week or the week before. What are we waiting for? It's just a question to remove the blinds, to increase our lateral view, to speak like this, and changing of paradigm to make this quantum jump for having a huge progress for the science, including the medical science. And hopefully this will be soon the next change of paradigm. It's interesting, some doctor also from Brazil, Dr. Fructuoso, he made also some speeches. And once he saw a young boy, just very young, which had leukemia and very, very ill. And he was really, how can that be such a young boy with such disease and whatsoever? So he asked clearly to his spiritual mentor, I cannot understand those things. And the mentor simply asked him, look, consider the cancer as a vacuum cleaner of the impurity of the spiritual body, and then you will understand better. And it's exactly about that. Some person had a cancer, passed on because of the cancer, and when it has been received in the spiritual world, his mentor says, okay, welcome, you see, your cancer has cured you. Means the body is sometimes necessary to cure our spiritual body or our soul, which is the most important, because this we take with us. The body or that we use stays here on earth, but our spiritual body and our spirit, the mind, this is our eternal belongings.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And more and more we are seeing the doing a great job, especially here in Europe. Oh, Silvia, could you join us? Hello, my dear.
Hello, I'm so sorry. There was lots of problems today and I missed the shot of it. I'm here now. And for some reason, I'll tell you later. Anyway, hello,
No
good
problem.
evening, everyone. Hello, Charles. I'm so sorry to be so late.
No problem. No problem. This, my dear, we are discussing here about the health, the spirituality, and the health. So, if you want to add your points, join us in the conversation.
Okay, I won't repeat what you already said. Well, I think this is a very important subject because so much of our physical health depends on our spirituality, how we think, how we see things. And recently I was reading something about with thing that from Emmanuel, Chick Xavier's guide, that he was talking about health and spirituality. And it's being proved that people who actually have a spiritual life, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you go to church or you have a religion as such, but people who accept the existence of God and feel that there is something more to life than just the life that we have, as good as it is, but there is something more beyond ourselves. They live better lives because they have more trust in the future. They are able to see things in a better way. And this, it's important because quite a lot of the illnesses that we have, it starts in our minds. And like very negative feelings that we may have, like anger, irritation, hatred against other people, the question of being very negative even to ourselves, or having a way of looking at the world in a very negative way. Those things, amazing as it seems, they impact on our health very, very much. So because and it's not so much that it's a spiritual thing, but it's a physical thing, because our brain, which is extremely powerful, that has these incredible waves that sends out this an immense amount of energy, and has an immense amount of creativity within this energy that we send out, and we are connected with everyone. Every time we get irritated, something happens, we send sorry, adrenaline into the body. And if we already have something that doesn't work so well, they become weaker. So we ourselves destroy our bodies. If you see, of course, as we grow older, we become more susceptible to certain illnesses, we become weaker, because we know that vital principle is diminishing as we get older. So we become more vulnerable. But we can go into very old age quite healthy, a little problem here and there, a few aches here and there, but mostly we can be very healthy. And it depends how we treat ourselves. We need to treat ourselves with care, with love. To eat the health food, to exercise in moderation, and most especially as well to read, to read good books, to see films and things that lift us up, try to see the positive times of things, and also be aware that all this anger and irritation and things like that makes our body weaker, more susceptible to for illnesses. So we need to keep our minds. I think it's an old Roman saying, isn't it? Menti sana, corpus sano. I think it is correct, isn't it, Manson? And I think this is so important. We need to learn to control our thoughts, to see things, because whenever we think of something, we are creating something. Our thoughts, spirit, energy. And it's creative. So if we think about things that are positive, that are good, it is good for us. I remember I used to have a friend of mine. She moved away from London now, but when she was living here, she she used to say that whenever she left home to go anywhere, she got into her car and she would say, when I get there, there will be a parking space for my car waiting for me. So whenever she did that, and she said, amazing as it was always somewhere she had a place to park, because if you think about London, it's a nightmare to park your car, to find places, because there is a lot now, people pay to park in front of their homes and all that. But she always said, oh no, I'm going to find a place to park. As soon as I get there will be a space. And mostly she always had it, So I think that's she was already sending out, preparing a space for her. And it's a silly thing, but I think that's what we need to do. We need to think about ourselves being healthy. We need to think about ourselves being positive and trying to see the best of other people and of ourselves as well, and trying to control certain emotions. It's so easily, especially now, everybody seems to be in such a state of anger. Everything is a problem, we seem, especially when you look at the demonstrations and everything that seems to be going around the streets now. Everybody's so furious. It's so, if you get into a train, people get annoyed if you walk slowly because they want to run down the stairs. And so we are confronted with this kind of thing. And we really need to be aware of ourselves, that I am not going to allow anything or anyone to spoil my day. And if we can do that and actually do it, it makes a lot of sense and is better. So quite a lot of few illnesses, because Joana de Angelis also says that whenever we send out a lot of negative feelings towards others, we are harming ourselves because something in ourselves are deteriorating. So I think that that's one of the points, to think positive, to be good to ourselves, because like I said, eat well, do reasonable amount of exercise, but I think most importantly is to be positive, is to be social, to meet other people, to do things together, to have a healthier life socially, meet friends, go out, read good books, study the spiritist doctrine. That is wonderful. And in spiritism, the more we learn, the less we know, because there
Uh-huh.
is always something else to learn. I was reading a little bit in a train about something in the spirits book, and I said, oh my God, I can't remember this very well. I must read this again. And then I was reading and said, oh my God, that's what he means. And we're always learning something new. It's almost like every time you open the Spirit's book or the Medium's book to read, you learn something new that you didn't think you had known before. And you have learned before because you had studied before. So I think this is more than anything the way we lift ourselves, do things that we like, go for a walk, look around the world, drop the mobile phone. I the other day I was coming home, and for grief, they had a little bit of sky. We could see the full moon, and it was amazing. The moon seemed so huge and was so beautiful. And I mean, we haven't had any clear skies here for ages, so just see the moon was a miracle. And everybody going around on their mobile phones, looking down, into the little screen where you have the beauty of the universe out there. So I think we need to do that, to be more aware, and to create for ourselves a happier life, to have really good thoughts, and to be more positive about ourselves, about others. I think it's halfway to avoid illnesses and to have a happier life. Even if sometimes people get annoyed that you always in a good mood. Like someone said to me, why are you always in a good mood? I said, well, because just being in a bad mood is not good for me. So I think that that's some points that I think about spirituality, and the connection with the divine that we have in us and with each other.
I like that, the divine within us. Yeah, it's we always seek something outside, but everything is inside. And so I shared uh, YouTube video from the International Medicine Association that Charles shared with us. I put in the comment box. Please follow them. I'm pretty sure um they will be in your, probably not in your city, but in your country, the country you are from. They'll be there, and they give good papers, good studs um regarding the spirituality and medicine and health. Um, my question, my thinking is, uh, Charles, you live in Brazil. Silvia, you're Brazilian, so we can see in Brazil, not just in Brazil, more in the South America, from Mexico down, the religion, the faith in God, something is more part of the people life compared to here to Europe. And how do you see these? Uh, I'm pretty sure there is no right or wrong, but I'm saying, do you think this kind of interfere in the achievements today? This difference between, because when we're talking about Mexico down, we're talking mainly by economical part, saying, the third, the countries in development. Like countries in development, it's more religious than countries development. I don't like to use this type, but what do you think? Do you think there is any correlation, since spiritism was, Kardec was in France? Now, we have more spiritists in Brazil, in in Colombia, for example, in Venezuela, in Chile. So, do you think there is any connection why everybody's like, not against, is so much defensive about it?
I mean, it's easily understandable, no? When you have lived Inquisition, when you have lived wars, when you have seen Joan of Arc being burnt, totally unjustified and unfair trial she went through. When you see even today the abuses which are happening here and there, and when you see in Northern Ireland these tensions which are still existing,
Hmm.
how can you have when you see, for instance, what's happening now in Israel and Gaza? How do you think you can have how to say, it's hard when you examine these subjects to have really a positive appreciation of traditional religions. I don't say it's wrong. There are a lot of sincere people which are totally equilibrated and a big faith in their religion, and they are doing good. But this is, I'm still saying, this is coming back to what I said before. Some people, they still need someone or something or some institution to tell them what to believe and what not to believe. Some persons have still they don't want, or they don't have the capacity to think by themselves, and they want someone to think on their behalf and to follow it. This is exactly this blind faith. And but the more the humanity is evolving, the more these things are changing. The more the people are questioning and willing to understand before believing in something. So that is one reason why in Europe the churches are getting empty. I remember when I was young, in the city where I was born and living, there were how to say, four, how do you say it, religious ceremonies every Sunday, and the church was almost full at each of the four. Today there is one only, and the church is two-thirds empty. So there is a clear movement away from these religions. I don't say it's good or bad. I just seeing this as a fact. Okay, but um, this is exactly why Allan Kardec declared from the beginning, always refused to consider Spiritism as a religion, and why he declared in his speech in 1st of November 1868 that why he never did it, and why it's a mistake to present Spiritism as a traditional religion. Again, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself a little bit. Kardec took what is the best out of the religions, what is undiscussable. And what is this? The moral laws. Do unto the other what you would like to the other to do unto you. love yourself, love the others as yourself, and so on. So these moral principles are at the basis of all the religions. There is no discussion about that. But all the rest around is subject to discussion. So he just left that aside, took what is universal, what is undiscussable. He did the same with science. He took the best out of science, which is the methodology, scientific methods, and left aside atheism, all these blinds, materialism, and sometimes pride, because you know better than the others or whatsoever. He left all this aside. And he joined both this best of religion and the best out of science in something new, which he called Spiritism. Okay, so Spiritism is something out of the box, is something new, is a disruption. So to qualify Spiritism as a science or as a religion, you just push it back to these traditional concepts which are outdating already since a long time. So it's a wrong way to present Spiritist body of knowledge, albeit we have to have the how to say, to respect the meaning of the people. Another aspect is in Brazil, the religion is Christian, okay? So they told about Jesus and about and so on. But if they come in a Muslim country or in a Hindu country, it doesn't work. Only 1/3 of the humanity is Christian. 2/3 are not Christians. So if you go and saying Spiritism is Christian, you already put a hurdle, a difficulty to 2/3 of humanity. That Spiritism is compatible with the principle, ethical, moral principle of Christianity, it's true. But it's only also compatible with Muslim or with Vedas or Buddhist or whoever moral principles. So it is something which is universal and not limited to one particular belief. And that's the way we should present a Spiritist body of knowledge. And I think it's of particular importance in the subject we are treating today. When you treat, this is why we say health and spirituality. We don't say health and faith in Jesus. It's health and spirituality. What is the influence of your spiritual beliefs on your health, whatever the spiritual belief is? Okay, and that's the correct approach, to have this ecumenic or neutral or universal approach. And the same is popping up now with this notion of spiritual intelligence, of SQ, spiritual quotient. It is not linked to a particular religion. You have religious people who have a quite low SQ, and you have atheist people without any religion, which have a high spiritual intelligence. So there is no direct link between both. And the most important, again, is to remove our blinds and to change this paradigm and to investigate more seriously and deeper in this reality of the spiritual world. Of course, we don't perceive it. It's not so easy to investigate as what we can then put on trials, experiments, and so on. Sometimes we have to wait that the phenomenon are happening. Nevertheless, this is part. Science is coping with such situation in others, like in astronomy. You cannot repeat an explosion of a supernova. You have to wait it happens and to observe it. So the same principle is for the Spiritist body of knowledge, and that's the only difference. Okay, and it will enable to make a huge jump, a huge progress. And I think we still underestimate the progress that we will have thanks to this widening of the paradigm.
Yeah.
But there is one point as well, isn't it, Charles? Because in talking about Jesus, we accept that he is our model, her Model for Humanity. It's part of the Spirit's book. But also, there is a part in the Gospel that Jesus says, not everyone who says, Lord, Lord, we enter the kingdom of heaven, but those who do the will of my Father who is in heaven. So the fact that someone can call themselves Christian or whatever religion for that matter, but does not do what uh, would be the basic to treat other people as we want them to treat us, as you mentioned. It doesn't make necessarily mean that that person will have, good when they die, because the whole thing is intention. And I mean, we see some people now, so some of the worst battles, the worst wars that we have seen in the planet, and we are seeing one now, is about religion. It's vicious. Mankind can become very vicious because they become self-righteous, that their religion is the best, they are better, they are preferred, and some of the things, and they think that if you don't believe in what they believe, then you are going to be condemned, you don't deserve to live,
Yeah.
and all sorts of things. There is an aberration as well in religion, not in religion itself, but the way people put themselves out, as if you have to follow what they want and what they believe, otherwise you have no salvation. And I think the words of Jesus there was very, very strong, because he doesn't say, he says the Lord, and everyone who accepts there is a God says, Lord, if you don't do his will, then you will have no salvation. Well, I mean, we know there is no eternal punishment. We know that. Um, and that's why Spiritism is so open and so universal, because how many, whatever, where the teachings of Jesus are universal, because basically is to love God and to love your neighbor as yourself, and do to others as you want to be treated. And I think this would be very, very peaceful. And I think this is part of our health as well, because if we are in harmony, when our spirit is in harmony with the universe, with everything, then we are healthy. Is this fight that we have, because I feel myself, I find it very hard to swallow a religion that there's either you believe what I want and what I say it is, or you're going to be condemned eternally. And we know there is no such a thing, because first and foremost, God is merciful. And even for people who don't believe in God, don't accept, it's not, I mean, like Kardec said, uh, in God, it's not a question of belief, it's a question of acceptance.
Yeah.
But there are people who, though they don't accept God, but they have really good lives. They have consistent lives. They are kind. They are loving towards others. They will be saved a lot faster than these people who keep, hitting their chest and saying, you are going to be condemned because you don't believe what I believe. And that's why Spiritism is such a wonderful and open and universal teachings, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. And unfortunately, it's about our time. I want to say good evening to Louviam. Good morning to our friend in
Thank
Japan.
you.
Huh?
Yeah. We can't read what he wrote.
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't
Yeah.
know any
Let's see.
Japanese yet, so my next incarnation.
Yeah. Also, just Elsa is here with us. Our friend Edir Paixão from Brazil. Good to have you here, my friend.
And thank you, Elsa, for the good wishes, because it's my birthday
And
today. and
It's
I
your
had to go
birthday
to work.
today. I would say it's tomorrow or something. Well,
Oh, no,
happy
it's
birthday, my
today.
dear.
Oh dear. Never mind.
Yeah,
Thank you for your good wishes.
yeah. So, and I
Uh,
want to say thank
Silvia,
also.
I cannot read Japanese, but Google can. So it means good morning, dear friends.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I see. Great.
Sorry to interrupt you, Steven.
Yeah, no, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so once more, I want to say thank you. Um, oh, I have this slide here. So next, let me see if I create one moment because I need to pick up the slide from next week. It's already done
Next
here.
week is what happens to the soul after death, isn't it?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. I just need to unhide this and hide this. Okay, let me show. So next week, our I did it. What happens to the soul after death? What happens to the soul after death? So 14th of February, 9 p.m. We'll be here to talk about it. And I hope to have you all here with us.
Yes.
So this is it from us today. I want to say thank you everyone for being here with us. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Silvia, once more. Happy birthday, my dear Silvia.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you very much. And apologies, deep apologies for being late today. I'm sorry.
No, today your birthday. You have all the everything to say.
I wasn't.
You
All the
you have
right.
all the excuses.
Yeah, work though.
Okay.
Never mind.
So thank you all. I'll see you next week.
Thank you
Enjoy
so
the
much.
rest of your week. Thank
Okay.
you. Bye bye.
See
Bye.
you
Good night.
soon. God bless.
Take care of yourselves out